Hello everyone, welcome to Tokyo Games match preview of Croatia against England on Sunday. A weird preview to do today, Gonzo, but how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Obviously, you're looking forward to England beating Croatia?
Actually, it's probably in my best interest that England win this game, but I'll get on to that in a second. Are you looking forward to the Euros?
Yes, I am. I really am. I really am, actually. Yeah, more so than any tournament for a little while, actually, including Russia. But yeah, very much so. I know you are too.
Yeah, it makes a difference for me. We're involved for once, and that's probably why I probably need England to win this game, whereas usually I'd want Croatia to win it. Before we get into it, though, this preview is sponsored by the One Football app, the completely free football app for football fans. Keep up to date with all the latest England news, the Euro 2020 news. Simply get it downloaded. Links in description and the pinned comments. We made it easy for you. Click on it, download it. It costs you nothing. No, even us Scottish people can download this one. We get it downloaded. You pick your favourite teams. You select your West Ham, select the country you'll be supporting over the Euros. Click on that team and you see all the news, the gossip, everything that One Football have handpicked for you in order to keep up to date with the latest going on. During the Euros, you can call matches, keep up to date with the latest scores, what's going on in the games, the stats for the players as well as the teams. Everything you need for Euro 2020 is on the One Football app. And it's free.
As a disclaimer, it's a good app. And even before they were sponsoring us, I've been using it for about 2 years. It's a very good app.
Every build-up show myself and Gonzo do, we use the One Football app to bring you, when we read the teams out, we're referring to the One Football app. Anyway, Gonzo, Croatia, what's your thoughts on
them? Nice kit, Geo. Nice kit. Very nice. Well, we owe them one. I say we. England owe them one. It's not we anymore, is it? It's just me. I owe them one. And so do my fellow compatriots, because they ruined, quite frankly, they ruined our last tournament for us. I think we played a part in it as well. And it was, look, they got somebody that won the Ballon d'Or not too long ago in their team, and a very, very good player. And they've got quite a few very good players. I'd be lying if I said I knew what their recent results have been, but they are not a team to be taken lightly. Far from it. They've actually got a decent spine to the team. They've got a very good centre half who we've coveted for a little while, maybe even be back in for this summer in Kaletazar, however you want to say it. And they've got a really good midfield. I think the midfield is excellent, but certainly creatively and technically, I think it's possibly as good as most out there. And they've got a striker in Rebic, certainly, who offers a little bit of everything in many respects. He's fast enough, but not rapidly quick. He's big enough, but not massive. But, you know, he can hold the ball up a little bit. He wins the ball well in the air, finishes well, decent technique. He's not bad at most things, actually, this guy. So we're going to have to be very, very careful about him as well. And our defence, as I think is England's defence, is going to have to watch out for their attacking flair, I think.
They're not the same team as they were in 2018. There's a few players obviously moved on. Mandzukic, Rakitic. There's a few players who've not done it. Luka Modric is 3 years older now. He's 21, and although it's Euro 20, he's 21, so he's 3 years older than he was at that tournament. He's getting on a bit as well, and they're just not that. I don't fear them as much as what I would have done it in 2018 had Scotland been in the World Cup. I look at that team and they're all right. There's some good players, but that's all. I think they're just good players. I don't think they have any world-class players anymore. I think in 2018, I think they did. But now I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd call Luka Modric a world-class player now. He certainly used to be, but he's just not as good as he was. And that's not his fault. He's just getting on a little bit. I don't fear them as much as this tournament. I don't know if they'll get out of the group, to be honest with you. I know the other group with France, Portugal and Germany has been labelled as a group of death. I actually think this is the group of death. I think you look at this group and I think all four countries are capable of getting results against each other kind of thing. And I think it's difficult to call this group, actually. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of these countries, and I know people say Scotland, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these countries end on 0 points. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it happened to be Croatia, actually. I just don't fear them as much. Do you think they'll get out of the group?
No, I've actually done the predictor on the Scarito thing that we did before, and I actually had them on 1 point and not getting out of the group, actually. So, no, I don't think they will. And I'll try to be reasonable. It's not like, Geo, whenever we do these predictions, even if it's West Ham to get to the end of the season or whatever, I don't just go in and go, yep, England 5, opposition 0, England 5, opposition 0, that's it, England through. I don't. I try and be reasonable. I even put a draw in there with England as well. And I think I even had England only to beat Scotland by 1 goal. So it's not me being overly optimistic or patriotic, absolutely. But no, even having looked in a cold light day, I don't think they will get out of the group.
You mentioned a few of them, but any players you admire? What ones do you admire the most from Croatia's team?
Well, I really like Kovacic, actually. I really do. I think I don't know whether he's unlucky or whatever, but, to not feature as much for Chelsea, maybe it's just not happened. I don't know. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of Chelsea, but it seems that it hasn't really clicked that much with the new manager, certainly. But I think he played for Inter Milan. Then I possibly went to Real Madrid, and now he plays for Chelsea. I think that's how it went for him. I might be wrong, but at least 2 of those are right. And you don't play for those clubs if you're rubbish. And it's not like he's the reserve centre-back at those clubs. He's a technical midfielder, and I think he's a really, really good one. And whenever seems to be, maybe I just catch him on a good day. Whenever I see him play, he seems to have great awareness around him, plays with his head up, pass and move, good technique. One of those players, Gio, that you can pass the ball to even if he's marked, and he'll say that's no problem. He'll just move his feet quickly, roll his marker, and off he goes. And generally plays a very, very good pass and travels well with the ball. I like him, good player.
Yeah, I think, like I said, while I've dismissed Croatia, I do think they've got some good players there. I think their back four picks itself there. They're all decent players. Barisic obviously plays for Rangers up in Scotland as well. But you're looking at that team, their right backs got benched by Kieran Trippier, who's probably not even going to be England's right back kind of thing. And that just sort of shows the level of some of those players kind of thing. I really like Riccardo. I don't know if he'll play. I don't think he'll start against England, to be honest with you. But he's a young attacking player in Bundesliga for Wolfsburg. He's had a really good season. I think he got 11 goals for Wolfsburg this season. If he does play, I think England will show a little bit against him kind of thing. But anyway, enough about Croatia. Let's talk about your country, England. What would you like to see? Starting 11, how would you like to see Pickford in goal?
I've got Pickford in goal. I've got to know the whole starting 11 if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah, we'll go through it.
Okay.
Defence, midfield, attack.
Okay,
and I'll give what I think is your best 11. I'll give my best. Not what I want to see personally, but I think Pickford has to be the goalkeeper. I know he's been a bit hit and miss at the start of the season, but I think he ended the season in superb form. I think he's got to start really. Back four for yourself?
Yeah, it is a back four, regardless of what happens with Maguire. I'm going to play Reece James at right back out of the 100 right backs to choose for. I'm going with Reece James because I think he offers a bit of everything. Well, I say a bit of everything, a lot of everything. I think he's the most rounded player. Is he as technical as Alexander-Arnold? I know he's injured. No, not quite, but he's got good technique. Is he as fast as Kyle Walker? No, not quite, but he's quick. Is he as defensively sound as Wan-Bissaka? Oh, I know he's not involved. Not quite, but I tell you what, he's a good 8, 9 out of 10 defensively. He just seems to have a bit of everything. Crosses the ball well, just everything. I really like him. So if what you want is a player to tick all the boxes, he does it. The others seem to be specialists in certain areas. He's a right back and does defends and attacks, which I like. And inside him, I'm going to play Stones.
Yeah, I agree with you with Reece James. Remember we did the Chelsea preview. I said, I think he's England's best right back. I think he's possibly the best right back in the Premier League. I still think he's very underrated and can also score goals as well. To answer everything you said, I agree with what you said. I think he's very good getting forward, often takes direct free kicks for Chelsea outside the box as well. And that's maybe something England could do with. You've always got a lot of technical good players there, and also Foden will fancy his chances of a free kick, or Grealish will fancy it as well. But actually, I think Reece James actually might not be a bad shout to have taking your free kicks for England as well. I agree with John Stones too. I think he picks himself really. I think he's one of those players who just goes in. Now, Harry Maguire, although he's back in training, is expected to miss at least the first game for England. So who would you like to see in there, or would you risk Harry Maguire?
I think I don't know enough about it. I would think not. I think you don't risk him, I would imagine. You want to see him later on in a tournament. We'll certainly disagree on this because I've heard enough you speak about this guy enough and you don't like him. But I'd put Tyrone Mings in there because I think he's a leader, and I think he's a talker, and I think you look at that, set that back line, I think it's quiet. Yeah, so there you go. I'll be playing Mings. He's also he plays at left centre half, which I do feel is important.
But he's rubbish. He's got one mistake in him. Did you see your friendly? Who did you play? Not Romania, the first Austria. Did you see him though? He just walloped that guy that ran in the box, and he just jumped into him and walloped him in the face. I did, but I think he also saved the day on at least 3 occasions actually. And I thought he really, it was silly and it was clumsy at best, but. I also think he reads the game quite well with his intercepting headers. I think that was. I think he saved the day at least 3 times in that game. If I was the opposition manager, whether it's Croatian, Scottish, or Czech, and Tyrone Mings was playing, I'd be rubbing my hands and be saying, "That's the man we're talking. Stay away from John Stones. He's an excellent centre back. Don't go near him. Go for Tyrone Mings. He has got at least 2 mistakes in him in a game.
Two. He gained another one in the last 30 seconds."
No, that wasn't even a mistake. What he did, that was just an act of stupidity when he just absolutely annihilated the boy in the face when the ball was out wide. He just battered him in the face.
He was lucky. Yeah.
So it's just what he did was stupidity. That's got nothing to do with footballing ability or leadership or anything like that. That's just stupidity. I would have Ben White in there because it's almost like picking him through default because I just wouldn't play Tyrone Mings or Conor Cody. So therefore, I put Ben White in. Conor Cody has been playing in the back 3 all season, so you can't just put him in a back 2 and say, "Well, get on with it." I'm aware Ben White has been as well, but Cody plays in the middle of a back 3 only. Ben White does play in the middle, to the right, to the left, defensive midfielder. He's a bit more an all-rounder, Ben White, I think. Left back, Luke Shaw, would you go for Ben Chilwell?
Oh, Chilwell, definitely Chilwell, 100%.
Would you? No, Luke Shaw for me.
Yeah. Just more technical. I've seen so many England teams fail because their opposition have better technique. It's a running theme. You know, I'm getting on a bit now, 47, and that's a running theme of England. We don't have enough technical players. I think it's really important. And what tends to happen a lot of the time with an England tournament, I'll tell you what happens, there's an inquest and they say we'll have a root and branch inquiry, find out what's wrong with English football. I've seen it I must have seen it 5 or 6 times, and then they all come to the same conclusion, which is everyone else has got a better academy and all the other countries are producing more technical players than we are. Now I think actually we've addressed that, but we've always had a little thing about us, England, be it a mistrust of Glenn Hoddle, a mistrust of Gaza. There's like Letitia, 1 cap, possibly the most gifted player of his generation, could do anything with a football. Oh no, we don't like, so we have a mistrust. It's not just, by the way, the football team, the rugby team are like it, the cricket team are, I don't know, I don't like a maverick or a genius. I think it's something in the English psyche, and I think it's wrong, and I think we need to address that. So we're now producing them, we'll now play them. Don't get to the end of thinking, how come Portugal are so good, and stuff like that. I don't because they can kick the football better than we can. So let's have the best kickers of the football on the pitch. For me, Chilwell does that a bit better than Shaw, but Shaw's a good player.
Yeah, I'll let you have the Chilwell thing. It's not as bad as your Ming show. I think the Chilwell thing, I understand. Arguably, he is the better player out of the 2, but I think Shaw's had the better season for Man United. I think he's been the best left back in the Premier League. He's got the pace, he gets forward really well, and I think, to be fair, Chilwell does too, but I do think you're going to need attacking options from about 8 of your starting 11, England. I think you need attacking options for people that can create chances all over the pitch, and I think Shaw does do that. Then it's our man, isn't it, Declan? It
is indeed, and rightly so. By the way, rightly so. So we another leader in there, and I think we don't have that many leaders, particularly with the absence of Maguire. So I said that about the back. I think Stones is quiet, So we got some.
Before we get into the rest of your team, is this where Gareth Southgate needs to be brave?
Oh, massively.
Because when I was writing down what I think England should do, I was thinking he's not going to do this though.
No, he's not.
And I looked at what I would, if I was an England fan, what I would like. I thought it's way too attacking for Gareth Southgate, way too adventurous, and I thought this is where when we did the England video the other day, this is where I said to you, Southgate, I think, will stop you being at your best this tournament. There's one player. I think I've got one player that you won't have, and I think you might have a player I don't have, and I think Southgate might include both of them through almost safety. So anyway, how would the rest of your team line up? We've got Declan in there.
Yeah, I've got very attacking. I've next to Declan, so almost a two, very central. I've gone for Mason Mount. His buddy next to him, so as they can cuddle and say nice things and discuss their holiday together. And whilst they're not doing that, I think they'll form a really good partnership. Even though they don't play at the same club, they've been playing together since they were 7 years of age. They are going to understand each other's game, and you can't. There's clubs and there's countries spend a lot of time on a training ground trying to build and understand it. These guys are going to have it instantly. They're going to be. They spend all their time together, holiday together, families, best mates, and all the rest of it. They're going to know that has to be the case in there. And I also think Mount is hard enough working that he can remain disciplined in the middle, in that central area, and do his job, but also creative enough that does what I said earlier. It's a player with technique. There's we need to get technique in this team. So that's who I'd play next to Declan.
I completely agree. I think he's played there plenty of times for Chelsea over the season as well. He kind of alter between players, sort of set midfield and attacking midfield. But it usually depends on who's available for Chelsea rather than what's the best position for Mason Mount. It's like, we don't have Jorginho, Kovacic, we've only got Conte. All right, we'll put Mason Mount in there. Okay, now we've got Conte and Jorginho. All right, we'll move Mason Mount up alongside Havertz, for example. But I think in this tournament, I think if you put Mount in there, and like you said, the relationship between him and Rice could be pivotal. They will run through a brick wall for each other, them two. And I actually think they'll both run through a brick wall for their country as well. So while they do have the technical ability, I still think they both, as well as most of the other players, retain that sort of feeling that you get that they would literally put everything on the line to win a game for England kind of thing. You can sense the pride in some of these youngsters playing for their country, and that's never a bad thing. So ahead of them, 4 more players to go. Jack Grealish has got to be one of them, surely.
He has to be. He has to be. Jack Grealish, if Jack Grealish is given, and I am a massive fan of Phil Foden. You know this. I've been talking about Phil Foden for years, right? Massive fan of Phil Foden. So what I say about Jack Grealish is not a slight on Foden at all. But Grealish, if he's given the opportunity to play every game, Grealish very much could be being talked about being in that team of the Euros. Honestly, other countries would look at him, wow, what a player England have got there. And we've got some technical ability in the team, and you've already alluded to it a little bit. And I know this is possibly a reason why you might like to have seen Ward-Prowse involved. But we do have technical ability, and we do have people that are good at set pieces. And he just wins an awful lot of free kicks. And if what we're going to do is, as I suspect, play a little bit defensive, as I know you do as well, then actually set plays are going to come into it. And this guy wins a lot of them. As well as being calm, he slows the game down. Look, nobody watching this needs me to tell them about Jack Grealish. All right, you've all seen him play. He's an international quality footballer, and he has to be in the team.
Yeah, he's definitely got the ability to go on and become world class. But I think what's stopping Jack getting described as world class is he's not done on a big stage yet. Whether that's for a club or a country, it's done independently week in, week out. But I do think, like you said, if you just put almost every game for England this summer, I think you could almost, if he performs as well as he could and should, I think you can maybe mention him in the words of world class, because he's got that ability there. And what he does do is, one defender is not enough for Jack Grealish. As the defending team, you cannot say you mark Jack Grealish. You've almost got to say you mark Jack Grealish. And in club football, you can do that. We've seen it with West Ham. We doubled up on him because we weren't that bothered about Matt Targett coming down the left from the left back about Villa. We thought, we'll worry about him when we have to. We're not too worried about El Ghazi playing next to Jack Grealish. But when it's England, you then put 2 players on Jack Grealish, suddenly you're opening up the space for whether it be Phil Foden or someone there then benefiting from Jack. So it's almost like you can only afford to put one on Jack, and Jack will beat that player 7 times out of 10. Jack will run past him. Done. Next. And that 3 times that he loses the ball, it is a bit frustrating at times, and this is why I think Gareth might not put Jack Grealish in from the start, because he probably does lose possession more than any other England player. However, that's not always a bad thing. It's because he's adventurous and stuff. And I think he's possibly too adventurous for Gareth. And I've got a worry for you that Jack Grealish will not start on Sunday. I will be surprised if he starts Jack Grealish against Croatia. But for me, along with Declan, Harry, they're probably the 3 first names on the team sheet for outfielders as far as I'm concerned. But
yeah,
anyway.
I think he's probably, I've got to be honest with you, like non-West Ham, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I mean, it's only just popped into my brain. He may well be my favourite player that's not a West Ham that I enjoy watching, you know. Don't know. I'll have to have a think about that, but he's certainly up there.
So, who else we're going for? You've got Jack Grealish. Phil Foden in your 11?
He is. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I mean, you just made a great case for Foden's inclusion, which is people are going to be watching Grealish. They can't watch both of them.
I think England's problem this group stage is going to be how do you break these 3 teams down? Because all 3 will sit back, so you have the ball, what you're going to do about it, and they'll look to play counter-attacking football against England. And so they should. I think sometimes that's what you've got to do. You come up against a team better than you. It happens in club football as well as country football. In these tournaments are all about results. It doesn't matter about performance. Listen, you can pass about as much as you want and look good, but if you don't get the points, you're out the group. And that was just a bit silly, wasn't it? It's all about you've got to win ugly. You have to win ugly. And if you don't have the height in your team, England, Harry Kane and Calvin Lewin aside, they're not both going to be on the same pitch at the same time either. So England need to break teams down on the deck. Yeah. And that means getting your best players in. The players that can do your quick 1-2s, can beat a player one-on-one. And Phil Foden is just like Jack, that player. He's that player that can get the ball, dribble past someone. He's got a little bit of magic in him. And sometimes if you're struggling to break teams down, you're going to need a little bit of something. But someone's going to have to step up and do something. And Phil's got it. He's been doing it for City for the last 5-6 months.
Yeah, Champions League finalist as well. Just a fantastic player. And left-footed as well. And you almost, if you say these 2 players, Grealish and Foden, are part of a 3 that goes behind the striker, which is what my system is, obviously, I almost say to those 2, do what you want. Do what you want. The other player in that 3 is going to have a more defined role, let's say, and a job to do, because obviously Kane is going to be up front. But you say to those 2, one of you go for a number 10 for a bit, one of you go wide, swap around, do what you need to do. That will obviously have some responsibility when the opposition have the ball, yes. But when we've got the ball, I'll be saying I don't want to restrict you. Do what you can. You want to link up, you got some ideas, some 1-2, some flicks, some stuff. Brilliant. Let's do it. So yeah, that would be that.
We'll leave the controversial one to the end then. Harry Kane up front, one of the best strikers in the tournament. Picks himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's just such a good player. Such a good player. He would be one of my favourite players if he didn't play for Tottenham. But the best I can do is that I don't hate him. But I think he's a wonderful. Because of that, I do think he's a wonderful player. Though I think he's so good. I think his in-game intelligence is really good. He does pose a threat in the air. He reads the game so well. He's developed his game where now he drops deep. I can't remember which game it was. One of the well, I guess the friendly that he played, which possibly Austria. There's one point where he picks up in midfield. He sort of leant to go that way, but actually turned and went the other. Rolled the midfielder, and the midfielder said, he don't know what's going on, and then he pings this curled pass over to the right wing. Long ball, Hollywood ball, long pass. Mate, I don't know, maybe it was the Sancho, so I can't even remember. Exquisite. And I remember popping into a shop the next day, and I almost had to get on. The guy said to me, he said, "Oh, you're brave. Well, walking in this shop with that, like I'd walked into, I don't know, like some gunsmiths in the Bronx." Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm brave walking into a co-op in Sandhurst in a football shirt. Oh, no. But, right, I said, anyway, who do you follow? He said, I follow Tottenham. I said, what are you talking about then? What are you talking about? I'm brave. We finished above you, reminded him. But he said, I didn't think Harry Kane played well against for England. Oh, no. I think you're being a little bit harsh there, to be fair. I think still looked quality. And I love the fact, Geo, he seems to have been put this. I think he's mentally so strong. He's like Declan. I think he's mentally so strong. He's going to put all that stuff to one side, all the transfer stuff. He's just going to play well for England. He's going to focus. I think he's an impressive player, impressive leader as well.
Well, the shopkeeper can't put it to one side. That's probably why they'll have the hump about Harry. But to be fair to your shopkeeper, I think Harry does sometimes fail to turn up for England in big tournaments. He does sometimes not do well enough, kind of thing. And I'm not talking about the pass against Croatia in the World Cup, like could have done or should have done. Just generally, he's just not been quite good enough. But I do think he's a much better striker and a much more all-round striker now than he was in 2018. And he while he might put the transfer speculation to one side, he does need to impress. If Pep or whoever's looking at him thinking, is this guy worth 100 million? Because that is his price tag, upwards of 100 million. He's going to have to maybe have a good tournament. So Pep does actually, yeah, he's the guy that I need. He's the one striker I need there. So that leaves one more position. And I think there's 3 players you can pick. Rashford, Sterling, or Sancho.
Yeah.
Which one are you going for?
Well, the reason that you've got to do that as well is my team is slow. It's not fast team there. Lots of technical ability. And at some point, someone's going to need to get in behind. And I was sorely tempted. You probably should pick Sancho because he's the most technical of the 3. But I've got technique sewn up in this team. The technique is done, actually. I need legs, which made me very tempted to pick Sterling. But I couldn't quite do it, Geo. So I've gone with Rashford.
I knew you would. I was right.
Did you? Okay. I was listening to an interview with Rashford the other day. I think there's too much on him at Man U. I really do. I almost think being with England is going to be a break for him. I think it's a heavy place to be for him. I think there's a lot of weight on his shoulders with terms of Ollie's job and them not quite winning the final and Pogba not quite. It's not something not quite right at Manchester United. And I think it's, as I said, he looks like it's, for me, I think he looked like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders for a little while. And I think possibly going away with England is going to allow him to forget all that club crap and actually, just be one of the guys, and not even one of the guys that has a major expectancy on him. Not even the main guy, not even the main 2, 3, or 4 guys. You can just be there and be Marcus Rashford, the promising youngster, right? Which is what he needs. And I think I listened to this interview, and it was with him, and he was saying he was speaking to Raheem Sterling in training, and Sterling said to him in training, apparently, your shooting is so good. I wish I could shoot as well as you. I wish my technique was as good as yours. If I could shoot as well as you, I'd be shooting all the time. And it was a nice little story, but I do think he has a little bit more to his game than Sterling on there. I think so. I think Sterling could stretch the defences, but I think Rashford. I was really pleased he scored that penalty as well, because I think that helps. That's really going to help him there. So I think he might be. I've got an inkling he's about to come into form and about to be really effective, and possibly he's coming into the best part of his season.
I would go for Raheem. I'd go for Sterling. Do you know how old he is? I'll be surprised you get this right, to be fair, but I will give you context in a minute.
27.
26. I think some people forget that because he's been around for such a long time. I think people think he's 28, 29 years old. He's 26. He's about 2 years older than Loftus-Cheek. Okay, so there you go. You have the difference of careers, kind of thing. And I know people dismiss how he's done with City this season, but he's not been that bad. But I think Raheem's got this. He's got the experience of playing against defences that sit back week in, week out. He's got to play in little pockets of space surrounded by defenders. He's got to link up with Phil Foden and do quick 1-2s to break them down. But also, one of Harry Kane's strengths this season, like you said, has been dropping deep, turning and knocking it over the top of a defence and stuff. That's Raheem's game all day long. Sterling will love running in behind the right back over and over again, knowing that eventually Harry Kane will find him at some point. Phil Foden or Jack Grealish might find him. And he's not the most clinical player, Sterling. I don't just mean in terms of finishing. I mean sometimes finding the right final pass or whatever. You can be a bit wasteful. So while I spoke about how Grealish loses the ball in possession, I think Sterling probably has the worst conversion rate, whether it's for a cross, a through ball, shooting, whatever. He's probably not. But he's that good. He creates enough chances for himself during the game, so actually he can waste 3 or 4 because he's got another 3 or 4 that he's successful at, whereas other players maybe don't manage to create that space for themselves, read the game that well. I just think he's a fantastic footballer, Sterling. And Sterling was in the position that you're speaking about Rashford now. Sterling's been like that for maybe not so now, but 2 years ago, certainly, Raheem Sterling had the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he was on the back pages and the front pages of the newspapers for non-footballing reasons, even reasons that have nothing to do with Sterling and stuff, about how he bought his mum a house and was labelled up as a bad thing. Look at this guy throwing the money around. For England would get beaten, he'd be seen having breakfast and they'd be taking photos of him. Look at this guy.
How dare he eat an egg? Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoying himself at breakfast after England got beat last night.
Absolutely. Having an orange juice. Disgusting.
But I actually think this summer, all the focus is on Phil Foden, his new bloody haircut, Jack Grealish, his sexy boy haircut.
Old haircut. Yeah.
I think that will actually benefit Raheem Sterling, actually, because before he used to be the first name on the team sheet for England. It was like, you need to turn up, you need to do well. Now he doesn't need to do that. It's sort of like there's enough of us. We're all good. We're all capable of it. And I actually think that'll benefit from him a lot. So I would put in Sterling. I couldn't understand why you would play Rashford or Sancho. Anyway, are you confident?
I'm glad you said there's enough of us. I'm glad you went to the us eventually and showed your true colours.
Talk. And I was saying this is what Raheem Sterling would say. Speaking as opposed to Raheem.
I know.
Anyway, are you confident?
I'm sure someone will snip it out and put it on Twitter or something.
Probably.
Yeah. Am I confident? No. I think that's hard with England. I still think I don't think we're going to play my team. I don't think we're going to play your team, unfortunately, mate, because I don't think there's a lot in it. I think either Rashford or Sterling inherently are there for the same reason. I'd like to think they did. I think if we did do that, we'd probably break the opposition down. I suspect we won't. I suspect he's going to have a defensive mentality. I do think we'll win, but I'm not confident about it because he's got to let the pad, whatever he's got to let a handbrake off. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly that, and it really needs to.
Yeah, I'm not confident for you either because I think without Maguire, I think defensively you're there to be got at. I think Southgate's too defensive. I wouldn't even be surprised if he switches to 3 at the back kind of thing for this one. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays 3 at the back. And you're thinking, like you said about defending, you've had 2 warm-up games, played 4 at the back, and then you go into the proper game, you switch to 3. What was the point of all this kind of thing? I think he's the one country, this is factual, if any country is going to suffer because of the Champions League, is England, because for the friendlies, you've not had Mount, Foden, Reece James, Kyle Walker, John Stones. You've not had them available. Every other country's had all their players because it was English sides in the Champions League final. So Southgate's preparation's probably been hindered a little bit. There's fitness doubts massively over Jordan Henderson and Harry Maguire. If they were fit, they'd start 100%. So Southgate's now got to decide, does he risk them or does he not risk them but play what he thinks is lesser players in those positions kind of thing? I just don't trust Southgate. I don't trust Southgate at all. And I actually need, as a Scotland fan, I need England to win. I probably need England to beat Croatia and Czech Republic so that it gives Scotland a better chance of, basically, we look after ourselves against those 2 sides. We will also qualify. Sure. So the worst thing for Scotland would be, if, in a way, is if Croatia win and then they Czech Republic beat them kind of thing, and everybody's on the same amount of points kind of thing. We need Croatia probably to lose all 3 games, essentially. Yes. It's probably the best thing for us. So I actually probably need England to win this one. Can I get your score prediction then, please?
Yeah, I think England will win, but I think it'll be 1-0 for all of the reasons that you've just stated and that I stated. I think it's going to be safety. I wouldn't even be surprised if we struggle for that. 75th minute goal or something like that. That would not surprise me in the least. And it's we come away with a victory with relief rather than a drunk party because we look like we're going to win the tournament. I think 1-0, Gio.
I'm going to say 2-1 England. I think you'll do it. I think you'll scrape it. I don't think it's going to be... It may be comfortable, but I don't think it's going to be confident. I think sometimes England can be a bit boring. And I think that's down to the manager to some extent. And I think there's going to be a few... Do you know when we do the build-up show for West Ham games, the lineup comes out and you think, oh... how are we going to score today kind of thing? I think there's going to be a bit of that with England. I think either Foden... I'll be surprised if Foden and Grealish both start. I will be shocked. I wouldn't even be surprised if neither of them start. If he goes for Rashford and Sterling and then puts Grealish and Foden on the bench, I would not be surprised. I've just got very little confidence in Southgate doing the best thing with those players available. But anyway, that's it from us. If you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it. Subscribe to the channel. We've got we'll be covering all the England games on Hamish Chat over the summer with Gonzo. Enjoy Sunday. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. That's sincerely meant, I know.
And we'll catch you in a bit.